In a world that moves fast and demands instant reactions, emotional control is your hidden advantage. Every day you're faced with people, situations, and triggers that test your patience, clarity, and power. But what if true strength lies not in what you say or do, but in what you choose not to? This audiobook is your practical guide to mastering that strength. It's not about suppressing your emotions, it's about understanding them, managing them, and using them to your advantage. Through timeless mindset shifts and proven self-control techniques, you'll learn how to respond, not react, to pause before pressure, to stay calm when others collapse. Whether you're navigating conflict, chasing personal goals, or seeking peace in a chaotic world, this journey will help you build the kind of discipline that turns storms into silence. Let's begin. The power of not reacting, emotional control for a clearer, stronger you. Written and published by ReadFlow Audiobook. Chapter 1. The Hidden Power of the Pause. In the fast-paced rhythm of modern life, most people react instantly. An insult sparks anger. A challenge stirs panic. A delay fuels frustration. And yet it is within that exact moment, between stimulus and response, that your true power lies. This is the space where clarity lives, where emotional mastery begins, and where you decide the trajectory of your life. Why the pause matters. The pause is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is the moment where you reclaim your authority. Reacting impulsively is easy. It's automatic. But choosing a mindful response requires strength. The pause allows you to observe the situation objectively, assess your emotions, and respond in a way that aligns with your values, not your impulses. When you pause, you take back control. You give yourself the gift of time, a second, maybe two, to breathe, to think, and to avoid falling into emotional traps that damage relationships, derail progress, and steal your peace. Reactions versus responses. Reactions are emotional. Responses are intentional. A reaction often arises from past trauma, ego, or fear. A response, on the other hand, comes from presence and purpose. Let's say someone criticizes you unfairly. A reactive person might snap back, defend themselves, or internalize the insult. A responsive person pauses. They consider whether the criticism holds any truth, and if it doesn't, they let it pass like a cloud in the sky. This is not passivity. It is power in its purest form. The neuroscience behind reactivity. Your brain is wired to react quickly to perceived threat. The amygdala, the brain's fear center, activates a fight or flight response to protect you. But most daily challenges are not life-threatening. They're emotional, social, or professional discomfort. The prefrontal cortex, your rational mind, is where reason, foresight, and emotional regulation live. And the more you practice the pause, the stronger that rational brain becomes. You're not born with discipline. You build. Each time you choose not to react, you train your mind to remain calm, even in chaos. Practical exercise. The 3-second rule. Here's a simple practice. When you feel triggered, pause for 3 seconds. Inhale deeply. Observe your emotion without judgment. Ask yourself, is my reaction helpful or harmful? This small gap can prevent outbursts, regrets, and emotional damage. Repeat this often. Make the pause a habit. With time, it becomes your nature. The long-term payoff. Mastering the pause won't just change your reactions. It will change your relationships, your decisions, and your self-respect. You'll stop giving away your power to people and situations that don't deserve it. You'll gain emotional clarity, build inner peace, and rise above the noise. Because those who remain calm when others lose control are the ones others look up to. They're the leaders, the grounded ones, the people with unshakable presence. Chapter 2. Understanding emotional triggers. In our journey toward emotional mastery, one essential truth must be acknowledged. You cannot control your reactions until you understand your triggers. Triggers are not always obvious. Often they are buried deep, shaped by past experiences, childhood conditioning, unmet needs, or unresolved wounds. What is an emotional trigger? An emotional trigger is any stimulus, an event, word, tone, or even a memory that evokes a strong emotional response in you. It might be anger, defensiveness, shame, anxiety, or sadness. Triggers often bypass our rational mind and go straight to reaction mode, catching us off guard and pulling us into emotional patterns we don't fully understand. For example, static. Being interrupted might trigger frustration because in childhood you felt unheard. Being criticized might trigger shame because of past experiences of being judged. A delay or inconvenience may trigger anger rooted in a need for control. When you notice yourself reacting more intensely than the situation warrants, that's a sign you've been triggered. Awareness is power. You cannot control what you're unaware of. That's why becoming conscious of your triggers is key. When you know what sets you off, you can begin to diffuse it. The goal isn't to eliminate emotions, it's to respond to them wisely instead of being controlled by them. Ask yourself, what people, situations, or words consistently make me feel reactive? What emotion rises up when I feel triggered? And what's beneath that emotion? Is this emotion about the present, or is it echoing something from my past? Emotional triggers are personal. A situation that overwhelms one person might not affect another. That's because triggers are rooted in your personal history and belief. Two people may hear the same comment. One shrugs it off, the other feels deeply insulted. The difference is the inner narrative. That means your reaction is rarely about them. It's almost always about you. This isn't about blaming yourself. It's about reclaiming your power. Because once you take ownership of your triggers, you no longer hand others the remote control to your emotional state. Practical tool, the trigger journal. Start a simple trigger journal. Every time you feel emotionally shaken, pause and note what happened. How did I feel? What did I do in response? What could I have done differently? Over time, patterns will emerge. You'll begin to see which situations stir up reactive energy and where your growth opportunities lie. The gift hidden in the trigger. Believe it or not, your triggers are not enemies. They are messengers. They reveal unhealed parts of you that are asking for attention, not suppression. Each trigger is an invitation to grow, to reflect, and to master yourself at a deeper level. When you stop seeing triggers as threats and start seeing them as guides, you rise into a new level of emotional strength, and that strength will show in how you speak, how you hold space for others, and how you stay rooted in storms that shake others. Chapter 3. How reactivity weakens you and steals your power. When you react impulsively, you surrender your power. Think about the last time you lashed out, panicked, shut down, or snapped at someone. In that moment, were you in control, or was the emotion in control of you? The truth is, unchecked reactivity doesn't just disrupt your peace. It quietly steals your confidence, energy, relationships, and reputation. Let's explore how and why. The cost of reactivity. Reactivity is your unconscious response to internal discomfort. It's immediate, often emotional, and rarely wise. While it may feel like you're just expressing yourself, more often than not, you're giving away your power, one reaction at a time. Here's how reactivity weakens you. It clouds your judgment. When you react emotionally, your decisions are driven by impulse, not clarity. Anger, fear, or defensiveness narrows your focus and clouds your ability to think critically. You act in ways you later regret. You say things you didn't mean, and you make short-term moves that have long-term consequences. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. Viktor E. Frankl. 2. It undermines your confidence. Every time you lose control, you feel weaker inside. You know you're better than your outburst, your pettiness, or your overreaction. This inner conflict chips away at your confidence and self-respect. Emotional maturity is about knowing you could react, but choosing not to. 3. It damages relationships. Reactivity is like throwing emotional darts. It leaves marks. Friends, partners, co-workers, most people can forgive, but repeated emotional explosions build walls, not bridges. Relationships built on trust can quickly erode under the weight of unpredictable reaction. People may start walking on eggshells around you, not out of respect, but out of fear. That's not real power. That's instability disguised as strength. 4. It gives others control. Here's the paradox. When you react, you let them control you. If someone knows they can provoke you with a word, a look, or a social media post, they control your emotional state. But when you learn to observe instead of react, you take back the steering wheel. You move from being easily manipulated to unshakable. The inner shift from reactor to responder. To regain your power, you must shift from being a reactor to a responder. The reactor is driven by emotion, ego, wounds, and habit. The responder is led by clarity, awareness, and purpose. This doesn't mean suppressing emotion. It means choosing your expression with intentionality. It means pausing, breathing, and thinking before acting. That pause is your power. In it you find freedom. Practical strategy, the 3-second rule. Before you speak or act in a heated moment, give yourself 3 seconds. That's it. Inhale deeply. Let the breath interrupt your reflex. Ask yourself, what's really going on here? Respond. Don't react. Speak with intention or say nothing at all. In those 3 seconds you reclaim your dignity, your awareness, and your control. This simple practice, done consistently, rewires your emotional system over time. Calm is a superpower. In a reactive world, calm is rare and powerful. People listen to calm voices. They follow calm leaders. They respect those who keep their cool in chaos. When you master the art of staying calm, you send a message without saying a word. I am not easily shaken. I choose how I respond. This is true strength. Not loudness, not dominance, but control. Quiet, focused, calm control. Chapter 4: The Root of Emotional Strength. Self-awareness. If emotional control is the tree, then self-awareness is the root. You cannot change what you do not notice, and you cannot master your emotions unless you first understand how they work, where they come from, and how they show up in you. Most people go through life on autopilot, reacting to things they haven't taken time to understand. Triggers, beliefs, habits, wounds, even their tone of voice. True emotional mastery begins when you step back and observe yourself. What is self-awareness? Self-awareness is the ability to objectively observe your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors without judgment. It means noticing how you feel in the moment, why you're feeling that way, what thoughts are fueling the emotions, how you're about to respond. This isn't overthinking, it's conscious noticing. Instead of being swept away by the wave of emotion, you watch it rise, and you choose whether to surf or sit still. The internal triggers that hijack you. Most emotional reactions aren't caused by the situation, they're triggered by what the situation represents to you. For example, a tone of voice might trigger rejection from childhood. A delay in response might trigger fear of being unimportant. Being corrected may trigger shame or defensiveness. These are not surface issues. They are buried emotional scripts, often written years ago, that still play out today. Self-awareness allows you to bring those scripts into the light and question them. Ask yourself, is this emotion about now or about something deeper? Often the answer will surprise you. Spot the pattern. Break the pattern. Begin by noticing your patterns. We all have emotional reflexes. Tapping when we feel disrespected. Shutting down when overwhelmed. Over-explaining when anxious. People-pleasing when uncomfortable. The key is not to judge them, but to observe them. When you do, you create space between trigger and response. In that space, you can rewire your emotional habits. This is not a one-time fix. It's a lifelong practice, but every moment of awareness builds strength. Practical reflection. The emotional audit. Take time daily or even weekly for an emotional audit. It only takes a few minutes and brings powerful clarity. Ask yourself, what triggered me this week? How did I react? What emotion did I feel underneath the reaction? What belief or fear was driving that emotion? How could I have responded differently? You'll begin to see patterns. And with that you gain power, responding with wisdom, not impulse. When you develop self-awareness, you no longer react blindly. You pause, you reflect, you understand the why before you decide the how. This is how you begin to live with emotional integrity, acting from alignment, not reaction. You are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You are the one observing them and choosing your response. Self-awareness is not just a soft skill. It is a survival skill in a chaotic world. It allows you to lead yourself first, so you can lead others well. Chapter 5. Mastering the Pause. How to create space before you react. In the gap between stimulus and response, there lies your power. That small, often overlooked pause, the moment where you choose how respond instead of reacting automatically, is the birthplace of emotional mastery. Most people live in reaction mode, their emotions triggered like dominoes. But those who can pause gain control of their inner world. This part is about building that pause. The emotional brain amygdala reacts in milliseconds. It floods you with feelings, anger, fear, frustration before your rational mind even knows what's going on. If you don't pause, the emotion becomes you. You lash out, you defend, you panic, you regret. But when you insert a pause, even 3 seconds, you allow your prefrontal cortex thinking brain to engage. Reduce the intensity of the emotion, make a choice rather than act on a reflex. Stay in control instead of being controlled. The pause is not a delay, it's a decision. Training the mind to pause. Here are simple but powerful ways to strengthen your ability to pause. 1. Name the emotion. When you feel something intense rise, say it to yourself. I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling dismissed. Naming it creates psychological distance. It's no longer you, it's something you're experiencing. That alone can help you pause. 2. Breathe before you speak. 1 slow breath can stop a tidal wave. Try this. Inhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 4. Exhale for 6. That short breath cycle calms your nervous system and buys you clarity. 3. Use a trigger phrase. Train yourself with a mental cue like pause, wait. Is this helpful? Respond. Don't react. These phrases serve as anchors in emotional storms, responding with intention, not instinct. The pause is not about avoiding conflict. It's about elevating how you handle it. When you pause, you listen better, you ask better questions, you reflect before responding, you avoid escalating situations. Most people don't regret pausing, they regret not pausing. That moment of stillness before you respond can protect relationships, preserve your energy, and strengthen your self-respect. Example in real life. Imagine you receive a rude email. Your instinct is to fire back, defend, attack. Instead, you pause. You ask yourself, why does this bother me? What's the most effective response? What outcome do I want? Now you write back, not with emotion but with intention. That's power. That's leadership. Emotional control starts in the gap. Every time you pause instead of react, you reinforce the habit of self-command. You remind your mind who's in charge. The pause may feel small, but over time it rewires your brain, strengthens your discipline, and transforms your relationship. Between stimulus and response there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Viktor E. Frankl, Master the Pause. Master Yourself. Chapter 6. The Art of Detachment. Letting go of what you can't control. One of the greatest forms of emotional power is knowing what to hold on to and what to let go of. Detachment is not about being indifferent. It's not about not caring. It's about choosing peace over obsession, clarity over chaos, and influence over control. In this part we'll dive deep into the art of detachment. How to remain centered and strong without getting pulled into every emotional storm around you. What is detachment? Detachment is the ability to step back emotionally from situations, people or thoughts that trigger you, especially when they are outside of your control. It's saying, I can care, but I won't carry. I see it, but I won't absorb it. I witness, but I don't react. You can still love someone without losing yourself. You can still show up without getting dragged down. That's true power. Why we struggle to detach. Our brains crave control. We want to fix everything, predict everything, control how others act, think or feel. But that's a losing battle. When you obsess over what's outside your circle of control, other people's behavior, the past, outcomes, opinions, you give your energy away. The more you grip, the more you suffer. What you can control versus what you can't. Here's a simple mental tool: the circle of control. What's within your control? Your mindset, your reactions, your focus, your words and actions, what you give your energy to. What's outside your control? Other people's thoughts and feelings, the past, outcomes, timing, life's randomness. Detachment is learning to pour your energy only into what's in your circle and releasing the rest. Practical ways to practice detachment. 1. Pause before you engage. When something triggers you, ask, is this mine to fix? Am I reacting or responding? Will this matter in 20? Even one reflective question can shift your emotional state. 2. Set boundaries without guilt. You can say no, you can step back, you can protect your peace. Detachment thrives on healthy distance. 3. Let go of the need to be right. Being right isn't always worth the emotional cost. Choose being calm over being correct in every battle, especially if it's with someone not willing to listen. 4. Practice mental reframing. Instead of "they're doing this to me," say, "This is happening around me, not inside me." You are the observer, not the absorber. Real detachment brings peace, not coldness. Some fear that if they detach, they'll become cold or distant. But in truth, healthy detachment makes you more present, more grounded, more loving, because you're no longer acting from need or reaction. You're acting from clarity. Final thought. Detachment is the inner freedom to walk away from what doesn't serve you, while still wishing it well. It doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you start caring more deeply about what's actually yours to carry. You only lose what you cling to. Buddha. Let go. Breathe. Detach. You're not losing control, you're gaining peace. Chapter 7. Reframing reality. How to change the way you see everything. Our reactions don't come from the world. They come from the meaning we attach to the world. Reframing is the key of changing the lens you look through. It's not about denying reality. It's about choosing a perspective that empowers you rather than imprisons you. In this part, we explore how to shift your mental filters, reframe emotional triggers, and gain control over your inner narrative, even when life doesn't change. The power of perception. Imagine two people stuck in traffic. One sees it as a disaster. "I'm going to be late. This ruins everything." The other sees it as a moment to breathe. "Now I can listen to that audiobook, reflect and slow down." Same event, completely different emotional experience. Why? Because of the frame. What you focus on becomes your emotional reality. What you believe about it determines how you feel about it. Your mind is always framing things. Every situation is neutral until your mind gives it a label. This is unfair. This is an opportunity. This always happens to me. This will make me stronger. Your interpretation determines your experience. Reframing is the skill of becoming conscious of those automatic labels and choosing better ones. Why reframing builds emotional strength. When you reframe, you stop being a victim of emotion and become a designer of meaning. You turn pain into perspective. You shift from reactive to reflective. This is not about lying to yourself. It's about choosing empowering truths instead of destructive assumptions. Common reframes to build inner strength. Here are a few examples of mental shifts you can practice daily. Triggering thought. Empowering reframe. "They disrespected me. Their behavior reflects them, not me. I failed. I'm learning. Every master was once a beginner. This is too hard. This is how I grow stronger. Why is this happening to me? What is this trying to teach me?" Each reframe softens emotional tension and returns control to you. Techniques to practice reframing. 1. Name the thought. Awareness comes first. Ask paired, "What story am I telling myself right now?" Example, "I'm not good enough." That's a story, not a fact. 2. Challenge the narrative. Ask, is this absolutely true? Is there another way to look at this? What would I tell a friend in this situation? This interrupts emotional spirals. 3. Flip the perspective. Ask, if this were a gift, what would it be teaching me? This powerful question transforms even painful moments into insight. 4. Anchor to gratitude. When things go wrong, find one thing that's still going right. Gratitude instantly reframes your entire emotional state. The ultimate reframe: life happens for me, not to me. This one shift will change how you handle adversity forever. When you believe life happens to you, you stay reactive, bitter, and powerless. When you believe life happens for you, everything, even pain, becomes part of your development. You become emotionally resilient, not because life is easy, but because you've learned to see it differently. Final thought: you can't always change your circumstance, but you can always change the way you see your circumstances. That's real power. That's emotional mastery. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Wayne Dyer. Chapter 8. Responding versus reacting. The power of the pause. There's a tiny space between what happens and how you respond. It's in that space that your greatest power lives. The thirst between reacting and responding lies in what you do with that space. Reacting is instant, emotional, and often regrettable. Responding is intentional, measured, and wise. Let's explore why the pause is the gateway to personal mastery, and how to train yourself to use it. What is reactivity? Reactivity is automatic. Someone criticizes you, you snap back. A delay happens, you get angry. You feel threatened, you shut down. No reflection, just instinct. This behavior is often driven by your ego, past wounds, or unconscious patterns. Reactivity keeps you stuck in cycles of, it's rooted in awareness, maturity, inner stability. It sounds like, let me think about that. I don't have to take that personally. This doesn't need a reaction from me. Responding puts you back in control of yourself and the situation. The power of the pause. That pause between stimulus and action is your moment of power. It allows you to disrupt emotional patterns, re-engage your thinking brain, regain your emotional balance, decide if the situation even deserves your energy. The pause isn't weakness, it's discipline. It's what separates the emotionally reactive from the emotionally intelligent. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. Viktor Frankl. What happens in the brain? Reacting is driven by the amygdala, the part of your brain responsible for survival responses like fight or flight. Responding activates the prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for logic, empathy, and decision-making. The pause gives your brain time to shift from instinct to intelligence. This is not just personal growth, it's neuroscience in action. How to strengthen the pause. Here are tools to help you master the moment. 1. Use physical cues. When emotions surge, breathe deeply. Count to 5. Relax your jaw or shoulders. These bodily actions slow your reaction time. 2. Ask internal questions. Interrupt the reaction with practice delayed replies. Not every message or insult needs an instant reply. Give yourself permission to say nothing. Respond later. Let it go completely. That's not avoidance. It's strength. 4. Visualize the cost of reacting. Ask, what will reacting to this really get me? Often it only leads to more chaos, guilt, or drama. Visualizing that cost helps reinforce better choices. Regular mindfulness practices like meditations, journaling, breathwork can build emotional muscle memory that makes the pause more automatic. The more aware you are, the more options you see in that moment of choice. Final thought. You're not weak for pausing. You're powerful because of it. Anyone can react. Few have the strength to respond with calm, clarity, and self-control. Learn to live in the pause. That's where freedom lives. Chapter 9. The Art of Letting Go. Stop carrying what isn't yours. Sometimes the heaviest burdens we carry aren't visible. They're the grudges, regrets, judgments, and wounds we haven't released. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means freeing yourself from what's holding you back mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Letting go is not weakness. It's a radical act of self-liberation. What are you still carrying? Without realizing it, and we carry old conversations that went wrong, mistakes we made years ago, words that hurt us, people who disappointed us, roles we think we have to play, guilt, shame, anger, expectations. These thoughts live rent-free in your mind, draining your energy, clarity, and peace. Ask yourself, is this helping me grow or holding me hostage? If it's no longer serving your growth or joy, it's time to put it down. Holding on versus healing. Many of us confuse holding on with strength, but often holding on drains our energy, fuels resentment, keeps us emotionally reactive, blocks new, healthier experiences. Healing begins when you make peace with the past, not when you keep rehearsing it. Letting go is how you stop bleeding from wounds that are no longer open, but still haven't been allowed to close. What letting go actually means. Letting go does not mean approving of what happened, saying it didn't hurt, pretending you're unaffected. It means choosing peace over control, choosing presence over past, choosing freedom over ego. You let go not for them, but for you. You let go so that the pain doesn't define you, limit you, or keep replaying in your life. The emotional cost of holding on. Here's what holding on often does to us. You overreact to small triggers. You distrust others who haven't wronged you. You stay stuck in blame instead of growth. You self-sabotage because you feel unworthy. You rehearse painful stories that fuel anxiety or anger. You deserve more than being a prisoner of your past. Letting go doesn't erase the story. It simply ends the chapter, so a new one can begin. Tools to let go gently and powerfully. 1. Acknowledge the hurt. Stop pretending it didn't affect you. Letting go begins with radical honesty. Yes, that hurt. Yes, I was disappointed. Release the need for closure. You won't always get apologies. Some people won't admit they were wrong. Some situations won't make sense. Let go of needing perfect endings. Your healing doesn't require their participation, only your decision. Practice mental unhooking. Notice the thoughts you keep circling back to. Say to yourself, this thought no longer serves me. I choose to unhook from it. Repeat that, daily if needed. Train your mind to drop the weight every time it resurfaces. Use visualization. Picture yourself placing the memory in a balloon and releasing it into the sky, dropping the burden like a heavy bag, walking forward with your hands free. These visual cues help signal to your mind, it's safe to move on. Letting go is an ongoing practice. Letting go doesn't always happen in one moment. It's a process, and sometimes a daily decision. Every time the memory arises, you choose again. Peace over pain, freedom over fixation, present over past. Don't beat yourself up when the pain resurfaces. Just keep choosing to release your grip. Final thought. Letting go isn't forgetting what happened. It's remembering yourself, who you are without the weight. It's the soft but powerful decision to heal, grow and move forward, even without all the answers. You don't have to carry what's not yours anymore. Put it down. Walk lighter. Breathe deep. You deserve the peace that letting go brings. Chapter 10. Stillness is strength. How inner calm becomes outer power. In a world that rewards noise, speed, and instant reactions, stillness is a radical act of power. It's not just the absence of sound or movement, it's the presence of intention, discipline, and awareness. Stillness is not passive, it's powerful. It's how you hold yourself when everything tries to shake you. It's how you choose clarity over chaos. It's how you lead yourself and others without needing to shout. Emotional maturity begins with restraint. Anyone can react. Very few can pause. Very few can step back, breathe and choose wisdom over impulse. But the one who does is always the one in control. Stillness gives you power over your emotions, over your energy, over your outcomes. When you no longer feel the need to react to everything, you realize you control far more than you thought. Train your inner calm. Stillness isn't just spiritual, it's scientific. It recalibrates your nervous system. It activates the parts of your brain responsible for emotional regulation and clear thinking. It gives you access to a higher self, one that doesn't panic, chase or prove. With stillness you don't shut down your emotions, you lead them, and leadership begins with the ability to observe without judgment, respond with wisdom, remain steady under pressure. Make stillness a practice. You cultivate stillness like any other skill. Start small. Space. Auk. Walk without your phone. Journal instead of vent. Rest without guilt. Detach from outcome. You don't need to control everything. You don't need the last word. You don't need to react. Let go, and you gain more than you lose. Power in the pause. In the space between stimulus and response you hold your greatest strength. That pause, that moment of stillness can change everything. Averted conflict, reclaimed peace, smarter decisions, deeper relationships. You don't lose anything by not reacting. You gain back your life. Final thoughts. This is emotional freedom. You now understand what it truly means to hold your power, not by dominating, not by controlling others, but by mastering yourself. You've learned to catch the emotional trigger, breathe before the reactions, choose calm over chaos, set boundaries without force, protect your peace, cultivate deep clarity, lead with wisdom, not ego. That is strength. That is control. That is growth. If this spoke to you, if you found value in this audiobook, consider this your invitation to keep growing with us. Like this audio if it helped you. Subscribe for more powerful mindset lessons. Share this with someone who needs stillness in their storm. Every action you take helps spread this message to more people who are learning to grow in silence and lead with calm strength. Your journey continues. This is not the end. This is the beginning of a more emotionally powerful, peaceful, and purposeful you. Because now you know, you don't have to react. You get to choose. And in that choice, you hold the power to change your day, your direction, and ultimately your destiny. End of audiobook. The power of not reacting. Emotional control for a clearer, stronger you.